This is Stella, Freedom to Be Art podcast, and I'm here with Iris. Welcome, Iris. And we've got big questions today. We've got brainstorming, we've got talks about meditation, the feminine and the masculine. And Iris is the goddess in explaining that. I am learning from her, guys. I am learning from her. Okay? So get ready. So, I was just had this in my head for the whole week. I think for my whole life, actually. There you go. So, Iris, what would you say? Like, does romantic love depend on physical interaction, or does it rely more on emotional and spiritual, like, outcomes to how you feel when you listen to the voice of that person, when you see the image of that person? Is it to do with a sense of smell? Because some people talk about it and they say, oh, it has to do with the sense of smell. Like the person that I love has this smell. But when you haven't met, and you've been through that, I've been through that. When you just fall in love with somebody that you have actually been physically with, how does that go? What's the explanation for that?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me because I love this, and I love talking to you. But yeah, it's a bit of both, right? You need to have some physical attraction to someone. Something needs to come out and say like, "Oh wow, who's this?" Right? That's the first thing. I mean, I met my my person through a dating app, and yeah, the first thing that I thought when I seen him was like, oh, that's my person. And I hadn't even spoken to him at that point. And when we got into the chat, we immediately related. And the funny thing is that I actually wanted to get off the dating app that day. So I had no intention of meeting anyone. I just wanted to get off. And I seen his picture and I was like, oh, I need to swipe. And then it said, it's a match. And I
Yeah,
was like,
do
oh,
you do
you
you
know, that,
believe that do you believe that people, sorry to interrupt, because I can't see Iris, by the way. Well, Iris can't see me, I can see her, because we had a little technical issue that we don't know what's going on, but we're doing this anyway. Okay, guys, this is how much we want to do this.
yeah, I'm talking to
Do
a
you
gray screen
believe,
here.
my goddess friend and soul sister, do you believe that we get judged by being what people are calling, I don't know if this is right, by the way, but demisexual? Is that right?
I think, I mean, and especially it's for both men and women. You know, it's awkward in a sense because men are just as well aware of how they look as feminine do. And as a woman, for me, of course, yeah, it's important to look good and have a good first impression, right? But men seem to have the same thing. And I think there is a misconception there though, because a lot of people think like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I uh, don't look as attractive as that person. And I think that in the end, you know, like, yeah, the first view of someone is kind of determining whether you might be into that person. But then it comes down to how their character is, right? Do you have resemblances in what you like or what you don't like, or how does that person come across in energy, right? Because well, I'm a very energetic being, yeah, so are you.
Yeah.
So we need that, right? We need that bit of spark, I would say.
So,
Uh,
so
a lot
like
of people.
being a I think this is the right, like, guys, forgive me if this is not the correct terminology, but this is what I heard, okay? So, demisexual beings mostly are considered to be obviously women because of the books and the stories that we get told when we were, when we have kids, little girls, about the romance and how you should aspire to have this romance, and how the eyes of the loved one will look at you for the first time, and their lips and the voice and the smell of their perfume and the way they glance at you. So there's all this thought that,
Romanticizing.
yes. And men, when we were speaking, actually, guys, we spoke before we actually got here, and everything was working fine. I'll share this bit with you. I will. Yeah, I said some rude things. I'm sorry. Not really. But basically, like, our boys taught how to be in touch with their feminine side, like us, to be. Yeah.
No,
I put it to you.
they
I put it
haven't.
to
They
you.
haven't been. They haven't been. I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, like how they've been brought up is so determining on how they show up for us women. But the same other way around. You know, like when we grew up, we got programmed with how our parents showed us love, how emotionally involved they were with us, and there's a lot of disconnect there because a lot of people don't even know what it is, right? Like they show up right now as their adult self, not understanding like how emotions work because we weren't taught that. Well, unless you come from a family that is really in touch with their emotions and expressive on their feelings, men haven't been taught how to do that. They have been taught like, oh, I can't cry because that's not man enough. I feel weak when I express my vulnerability. And sorry, but that's a whole lot of horse shit.
It is true, and I'm not cutting this off, okay? This is only for over 18s. There you go. But yeah, but bottom line is, like, I've heard a lot of this talk in these past 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know if it's because I've been thinking about it. Maybe it's because I've been thinking about it, and then, you know, whatever you say close to your phone listens to you. And then they said, well, women are more, like this terminology, demisexual, because they're more attracted to a line of thought, to a connection that is built upon friendship. So once they get this connection that is, well, supposedly built upon friendship, and there is the admiration and the mutual inspiration at looking at the other being, and we're not talking about sexual orientation here because I respect everybody and everybody's choices, but like, it is to do, whoever is the feminine side, the stronger feminine side, builds a story plot inside their heads which makes them fall in love deeper and to a sexual connection that will really bloom. And I feel like that boys, I'm not going to call them boys, I'm going to call them men, because they're men, they're supposed to be freaky men, right? They're supposed to be in the feminine as well, to be able to make this physical interaction beautiful,
Yeah.
hot.
So on that, you also have to understand, or for the viewers, you have to understand that we hold both masculine and feminine energy inside of us. The feminine energy comes from the heart. That's the feelings, the expressions, emotions. But the rational mind is more the masculine, right? Rational decision making, planning, you name it. That type of energy is masculine. We as human beings all have both of them residing in us, and depending on how we show up, how our past has developed, of what we got taught when we were young, depends on how emotionally stable we are and if that masculine and feminine energy is in balance. It's like yin and yang, right? We both hold both pieces of the puzzle, but we need to make sure that that balance is there. And when you're driven by certain aspects in your life that have caused an imbalance in that energy, that determines on how you show up in a relationship. So you can be attractive to somebody however much you like, but then in the first few weeks of a relationship, you always present yourself as the best version of yourself, right? If you're not fully in your authentic self yet, if you haven't learned to be you as you, then you're always wearing a
Sorry,
mask,
I am
right?
laughing. I am laughing because you're so kind. I was like, she is so kind. You always present yourself as your best self at the beginning. There's me thinking, oh, sugar, that's a big S because I don't think that I presented myself in the best light. At the beginning, I looked terrible. I was physically looking terrible,
But
emotionally
that's the
terrible.
beauty about you, because you are more in your authentic self, and especially since we've met, you've grown more into your authentic self because you've been working on yourself, and there's a whole difference there, because a lot of men haven't worked on themselves, and it's not until you are fully in your awareness of how you show up, what it is in you, what you really like about yourself. If you carry insecurities and all of that, then of course you're going to present yourself better than what you think of yourself, right? And then it's more like the rush that you get from, oh, this person is into me, and and then you present yourself even better because, hey, you want it to work and yada yada. But in the end, you fall through as soon as that period is over and you start being more yourself and show aspects of yourself that might not be accepted. Then it depends on if you accepted that for yourself, right? Like,
Do you
you
do
accept
you do you
yourself without
believe
makeup.
do you believe that men nowadays in the century that we are right now, 21st century, do you think that they pretend more to please at the beginning than women? Do you think women are more liberated right now?
No, I don't think so. It all depends on their level of awakening. Um, because you have a spiritual growth, everybody does, and that's not based on religion, it's just based on how far along in the journey you are. So if you have been working on yourself and you've become more aware of the aspects that um, you need to work on from the wounds of your childhood. So in case, let me take myself as an example. You know my story, but for the viewers, so since my previous relationship with the father of my boys, he passed away 4.5 years ago. In that time before it, we had a very difficult time. In 2013, he had a company accident and he um, wasn't able to work anymore. So I was the only provider. So in that moment, I had to step into my masculine energy to provide, to make sure that the household was done, to take care of our children, to do the administrative work. He was also from Australia. I'm Dutch. So his language, his Dutch language, wasn't that good. So all legal matters were also on me. Um, it was a mess. So I lost myself in that moment. I was out of balance. I wasn't in my feminine anymore. I was only leading in my masculine, which led me to turn into survival mode. So you cipher yourself away. And when you do that, you create wounds, right? If you like it or not. And also, same counts for anything else that you've gone through your life. It creates a wound. And if you had, for example, parents that neglected you emotionally or didn't treat you right or never embraced you as much as that you needed to be embraced, not feeling heard or seen, it all trickles down into how we show up in our relationships, how we develop, and how we show up. So if you are not aware and consciously aware of what has been shown or where it's coming from, then you can't heal that wound, and then you'll keep showing up in a certain way that is not benefiting you.
Do
And
you
that's what
do
most,
you believe, I don't know, this is quite deep actually, but do you believe
you
that
know me.
yeah, it's deep like you're talking and I'm like, oh my God. Like, do you think that most women in the planet today of course, we managed to get a lot of rights. We're able to vote, we're able to drive, we're able to have our own businesses, we're able to wear whatever we want, obviously, like according to where you are, right?
Yeah.
But basically, like, women do have rights now, and we're looking for equality. And most feminists, they know that they don't want to be men. They don't want to be men. They just want to be
No.
respected. They don't want to drown their femininity. They just want to be respected. They just want to be included. And as much as they want to include men, it's not about wanting to take somebody's place or to play the role of a man. I never wanted to do that. But that
No.
comes quite, it's to do with your instinct. Do you believe, because, like, guys, this woman is very intelligent. She's very analytical, like myself. So, yeah, Iris, do you believe that most, I could say, 50% or more of women in this planet that we have come across, you and I, would you say that they are on survival mode?
A lot of them are. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way to teach men how to work with us without offending them, without hurting their manhood? How can we do that? Please teach us.
Oh man, you're opening up a can of worms here. There's so much to say on that. Because it's not just men showing up for women, it's also how we show up for the men. As I experienced myself, if we don't show up in our feminine side, then we don't hold space for the man to lead, right? And then there's another aspect to it, because the social views and how things have been put on us as a society has driven us to step out of our normal, if you're a feminine energy. Yes, we have been more driven to be self-sufficient and that, but like I said, the boss babes and that, it drives more to the masculinity, and that's not where we're supposed to be. And everybody says, yeah, we got more independent and we can hold our own, but that also drives away our femininity and the attraction towards men. Yes, there is a certain aspect in being strong as a woman that attracts men, but in the end, it might chase them away if you're too independent, because men are driven animals, I would say.
Okay, guys, don't get offended. She's
Yeah,
saying that in the most kind way. You're wild.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be, because that's masculine energy, right? They're supposed to be hunters, and like they like to chase, they like to pursue. That's what has been ingrained in generations.
I love that. They like to chase. They like to pursue. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, but
I'm like, this is getting hot.
Women love that too. Let's be honest.
Yes, we do.
We like to be appreciated and adored, but at the same time, men do too. Only they wouldn't admit that, and they show that in a different way. And oh my, gee.
Another question, Iris. Iris is going to be like, why did I sign into this? Like, why?
I love these conversations.
I was thinking, like this smoke coming out of my ears sometimes, and I just thought, is there? Oh my God, I'm gonna offend people, but whatever. I'm sorry, guys, girls and guys, I'm gonna offend you. There is a culture where women treat men like Greek gods. So, like, if a guy at the same level that Iris is right now, with the same level of intelligence, the same capacity to do so many incredible things, does the same thing that she's doing right now. literally taking charge of her life. She's the feminine goddess. She's got the masculine energy in balance more and more each day. Iris,
Yeah, I still need some work there, girl.
yeah, but it's true. Like, do you think it's so true? I admire you, and I'm not making this up, guys. I really do admire her. Do you think that women, they complement more the male figure? They complement, and they get into groups, and you know what I'm talking about. They
No.
get into groups. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. They get into groups, and I don't mean to be mean, okay? I think it's wonderful getting into groups. I love the groups. But they get into groups, and they turn that being, that male, into a god. Into a god.
Well,
And that person is not a god. That guy is not a god. Not in your company. Not in your group. Not when you're singing, because I'm a singer as well, guys. Okay? So everybody has the right to shine. But do you
okay.
think naturally will give more attention to the male figure, and they will comment more, they will share more, they will give more mommy support to an adult, mommy support to an adult? It's kind of a mommy mistress kind of vibe, right? And I've been caught up in this as well, to give a mommy support to an adult, which is okay. It's okay. It's fine, but it's too much.
Well, yeah. Well, there's multiple things to get into there. First of all, we have we have the tendency, like, when we adore someone, we put them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we're all equal. You know, we're all the same. We hold both at the same level, because it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what country you're from or what color of skin you have. We're all one. And as soon as people start realizing that we are one energy, then we shouldn't pedestalize anyone. And the other thing is, because that means that you think less of yourself, and we're not, right? And a lot of that's not just men. Men come from a place of a mother wound. If they need the attention and the adoration of women, they have a wounded little inner child that has never been nurtured. And the same counts for women, though.
But in general terms, do you see, it's not do you think, because when you think you're not sure and you don't really know, do you see more women supporting your business, really truly supporting your business because of the value that you hold, not just the physical beauty, because you are a beauty and we both know that.
Thank you.
But everything that you carry, this experience, this knowledge, and this forever, like, wanting to learn more, this hunger for knowledge and to apply it, not just to talk about it. Like, do you feel that you get the same level? Okay, I'm gonna put this, the same level of worship.
I think women value me more for my knowledge, and I think men, in first instance, are more interested in my looks. But when they get to know me, they understand that I'm an intelligent being, and I also think that intimidates the F out of them. to be fair. And yes,
But I always wondered, you know,
I don't even see myself like that. You know, like, I'm not. I'm humble. You know, and I think you can confirm that, and I think anybody who knows me can confirm that. But I don't see myself on that pedestal, and I don't like to be put on there as well, because I'm only a human being as well.
Yeah.
You know, I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I never claim to be perfect. But yeah, if they see me that way, well, they're going to be in for a little surprise, because I do hold up mirrors. And yeah, that's just my being, because I'm quite straightforward and honest. If I see something that doesn't align, or not within me or within anybody else for that matter, I will try to bring that to their awareness. And not everybody appreciates that. And it's also to the level of what they can receive. Because if you've never learned how to receive, or you can't see yourself as whole, like if you're missing an aspect in yourself that doesn't believe in yourself, that has insecurities, that's easily offended, you name it, that all stems from fear, from pain, from wounds out of the past of how you've been treated. And it's not any different for me, because I still go through those things as well. The only difference, I guess, is because I am indeed yeah, ever learning. But I do try to get to that situation in myself and think like, okay, shoot, that did not go right. What did I do wrong? And yeah, I can beat myself up for it, but what's the
There,
point?
there, yeah, there's two things. There's two things that I really paid attention to what you said. There's two things that people like they inflict on women. One, the guilt of feeling special. Not like feeling special like, you're like in love with yourself so much that you don't see others, but the guilt of having the right to be on the pedestal that you built, but to still be humble. The guilt of being special and being capable and being considered maybe shallow, that a man would never be considered that shallow, for enjoying yourself and enjoying your beauty and enjoying your power as a female at whatever age you find yourself in whatever circumstances, but just allowing yourself to be beautiful and to say, yes, I am beautiful. And today I am on a pedestal, but that doesn't make me more or less. I'm just feeling on a pedestal because I feel so good about myself. I think there is a misconception of like what is to be humble, what is to be a humble person, because I've been taught that in my family, like, oh, if you're humble, you never praise yourself and you never say, oh, I look so good today. If you're humble, you never
No,
say, I did this so well, but you tell men, oh, well done, you did this so well, you're so pretty, look at your smile, you're such a golden boy. But when it came to women, it's like, why are you taking so many pictures of yourself? Why are you showing your art? Like, if nobody knows this, like Iris is a painter as well. So why are you showing everybody your art? Are you trying to show off? What are you trying to prove to people? Like, why did you post a photograph of you in your new dress? Oh my God, that's so shallow, and you're spending money and all that. So I see so much judgment and resentment when it comes to women expressing their beauty in this physical world, either with their,
yeah,
with their individual physical beauty, or I don't know, using a product, some stupid thing that it's stupid to some other people but not stupid to us, or things like people got really mad like with no, you told me about that facial yoga, and I saw like some really terrible comments like, oh crap, like I have to pay my bills and I have to take care of myself and I have to be on my feminine and I still have to do freaking facial yoga. Is that a joke? I'm not gonna do this and I was saying, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you're feeling under pressure, don't do it, because I didn't do it when I didn't like it. But I think,
but
I
that's
see.
that. I think, sorry to interrupt. I
That's
think that
right.
is that is the whole thing. We just need to honor ourselves, right? Like, and it's not arrogant or like over the top if you want to present yourself in a nice way. It shows that you've got self-respect, and that you love yourself, and that you take care of yourself, and that's fine. Some women do go over the top though, and then there's two aspects there. um, Either they crave a lot of male attention, or they put themselves up um, in such a way that they do come across arrogant. And there's a fine balance in everything. No, it doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman for that matter, because men do it too. If you put, and I, speaking of myself again, when I just got on social, in the moment that I got on there, I was very insecure about myself. Because I've been in my masculine that long, I didn't even recognize the person that I seen in the mirror. I was looking at myself and I felt like I was a sad abstraction of who I was. And I didn't see my beauty. So then I started posting some selfish, self,
We're not
well, not
selfish,
selfish
guys.
at
We're not
all.
selfish. We're selfies.
Translate. Uh, but yeah, I did at one point. We're seeking for some validation because I didn't see it in myself anymore. And once I recognized that part of myself, like, why am I actually doing this? um,
Yeah.
it didn't hold any value to me to put my face out there. No, I can do without, and I am not overly exposing myself because I don't like that. Because I don't want to be seen as a sexual object, because that's what it becomes to men most of the time.
Yeah,
And
that you can't help what goes into people's weird heads, but it's
yeah,
true.
but
Like,
it's also not me, by the way. Like, I'm not the type of person to put myself out there. If somebody does, then hey, good for you. I mean, it I don't care in that sense, but
well,
I
when it's
think
distasteful, right? When it's distasteful,
exactly,
you're like, ooh.
exactly
For men and for women, you're like, ooh. But I just think it's
both.
weird. Like when a guy goes shirtless in the hot summer, and he's like, ooh, hello, soon I'll be online. And then a woman is at the beach, and she will be on her bikini, and she does the same, like, soon I'll be online to talk about fitness, and everybody, oh, look at her boobs, like she's showing off. Like, oh my God, what is she thinking?
But
No.
it's also
Yeah.
so sexualized, and I think, well, I hate that. Honestly, I don't like that. I mean, it's to the level of consciousness of in both men and women on how they perceive things, on how they look at something. Because I think that if you've got a man who's in a relationship and he's still got hundreds of women who post pretty going out there type of pictures, that's
That's so
not a level of
wrong. It's the same
awareness
as
that
you
you would
giving
want to see.
likes in a lot of guys wearing their swimming trunks.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I see it like this. Like, what kind of level of respect do you have for your partner if you show up that way? So if you start a relationship, and for me, it's a big freaking turnoff when a man presents himself like, oh yeah, well, like, no, I don't care about other women, and my focus is on you, and la la la, and then it turns out that they follow hundreds of women and make all these flirty remarks on their posts and stuff, and then I think, no, sorry, your
That's
eyes
another
are on
really.
me,
That's
and your
another
eyes
really.
are on me,
Yeah. That's another
and
really
and I
really serious subject because you just put your finger on something really serious. Is the bad, the dark side dopamine that men are
yep,
getting from those PORN sites that are everywhere. They're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're everywhere. They're on Facebook, and it's supposed to get mainly the male guy, the male figure, the male orientated, whoever that is, to look at women in the most like disrespectful way as
yep,
objects, and
yeah,
it's supposed to get them hooked. Now, this is apparently like I was listening to another podcast of this amazing Brazilian psychiatrist, and she was saying the biggest issue now that people are actually getting divorced because of it. I was like, what? It's because people are cheating on Instagram. People are cheating on social media, and not cheating by having a relationship per se,
Nope.
They are cheating because they are constantly like giving likes, saving pictures that are just, oh my God, it's like, it's not nice. And
Yeah.
leaving comments there so that their girlfriends, their fiancés, their wives will see. And yes, then
Yep.
they don't want that relationship anymore.
Yeah, and rightfully so, because first of all, it's disrespectful. It doesn't show that you value your partner. It doesn't show any integrity, and in that sense, then you're not in your full awakened masculine or feminine energy either way. Because women do that too. If you are, for me, I wouldn't even look at other men if I'm in a relationship, because my full focus is on my partner, because that's where the not only the masculine and feminine energy within me, but also within the relationship plays part. And if that is out of balance, then you create issues, okay? Because then you're not on the same vibrational match.
Do you think
And
that is kind of it's such a horrible word and a horrible sentence, but this is expected of men nowadays, that they have this interaction, this very negative, this very toxic interaction with the internet, and it's kind of excused because it's not like really happening in real life. So I heard the most absurd things, like, why is my girlfriend so concerned with that? If I'm not cheating, I'm just watching.
it
I'm just
is cheating, though. They don't. That is just a cop out. Sorry, that's just a freaking cop out.
again, you say it. You tell them, Iris.
Well, it is. It is a cop out, because if you're constantly, you have.
Every Sunday, 6:30 p.m., Bella Freedom to Be Art podcast.